What's up everyone, welcome back to the Driver Mod. Welcome back to this service episode on the channel. Today we've got a 2022 Ram 2500 with the 6.4 liter HEMI, and we're going to show you how to do the front diff oil change. So this truck is currently at 87,000 miles. We've been servicing this truck since it was brand new, its first oil change at 2,000 miles. We're going to be doing a bunch of services today on it, and we're going to record some of those for you. So we're starting with the front diff service on this truck. To perform this service, you're going to need 3 quarts of the 75 W90 severe gear oil from Amsoil. And then as far as tools go, all you're going to need is a drain pan, a 3/8 drive ratchet with a 10mm socket, and then a fluid pump. The fluid pump is only going to be required if you do not get the easy packs from Amsoil, which are these right here. So these, you just undo the cap, cut the top, put this in the fill spot of the differential or whatever unit you're servicing, and you just squeeze the pack and fill it up. So you can still use a fluid pump with these if you don't have access to the plug based on, you know, suspension items being in the way or various items, or the quarts. You're definitely going to need the fluid pump. But we've got the easy packs today, so we're going to show you how easy it is. Anytime you're servicing a differential, transmission, or manual transmission, or anything where you're putting oil in and it has a fill or a level plug, you want the vehicle to be as level as possible. So we've got the truck level here on the driveway. You can also accomplish this with a jack stands, a lift if you got access to one. If you are slender enough like I am, you can do this job without even lifting the truck up. So let's get to it. If you are new to the channel, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe down below and comment, hit like. Let's get to it. All right, so this diff is pretty straightforward. There's really not much that you have to do to get it ready for service. The first thing you're going to always want to do is break the fill plug loose. These only have a fill plug. In order to drain them, you have to actually remove the entire front cover. So you always want to make sure that you can put fluid back in it, because if you drain it and this is seized, stripped, or whatever reason damaged, then you're not stranded. So for these, it's just a 3/8 drive. Go ahead and break it loose. Then go ahead and place your drain pan underneath it. Remove the fill plug, because you never know if it's slightly overfilled or not, you know, the perfect level angle. But all right, so the fluid level's right there. Next, go ahead and take your 10mm socket and remove all of these 10mm bolts on the outside of the diff cover. For doing the top ones, you really don't need to have the drain pan under you, but once you get towards like the bottom half, you're definitely going to have the drain pan underneath. Now for these upper bolts up here, you are going to need a 10mm wrench or like a super shallow socket, just because of the bar that's in the way. Once you get the top half of the diff released, now you can move on to the bottom half. Make sure you have your drain pan in place. And what I like to do is like to leave the screws that are about at 3 and 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I'll loosen them, but I'm gonna leave them installed so the diff cover doesn't just fly down and the oil go everywhere. There is a gasket behind this cover, but it may not always, you know, keep a hold of the cover. All right, so I've got all the cover bolts removed except this one and this one. I just back them off to allow the diff cover to lose contact with the diff, and then you can just pull it back, and then the oil will just drain out of the lower portion of the diff cover in a very controlled manner. Doing it this way also keeps the gasket behind the diff cover and the diff aligned with the bolt holes, so you're not fighting the cover and the gasket going back in. If you're going to replace the gasket, then you'll go ahead and remove the diff cover, but if you're not going to replace the gasket, then this is the best method to do it. The gasket is reusable. Just check for leaks periodically, and if it starts to leak, then you go ahead and replace it, but no need to replace a part that doesn't need replacing. So you're just going to let that drain for 5 to 10 minutes. Once the differential stops draining, now you can reinstall all of your 10mm bolts. Just go around and start them all by hand to make sure the gasket is seated and aligned with all the holes before you tighten anything down. Once you get them all installed and inserted a couple threads by hand, then you can go around and tighten them with your ratchet. Tighten everything down. Just gonna get everything bottomed out with the diff cover. Then go ahead and give everything like another quarter to a half turn. Then just use some brake clean and clean the diff cover up, get all the oil residue off the bottom around the bolt holes. That way when you start feeling it, you can identify if you have a leak. Once that is done, then you can take your Amsoil Easy Pack, take the seal out of the top, cut the top spout here to allow the oil to flow. And then kind of keep the top angled up, put it into the hole, get the cap flush with the fill bolt hole, and then just squeeze the package. Keep it oriented in the upward direction to allow all the oil that's in the package to flow towards the opening. As you can see there, oil has started to come out. So we're just going to go ahead and finish this pack off. Grab our fill plug and thread it back in. Thread it back in by hand first. And then use your 3/8 drive ratchet to tighten it down. Get it flush with the diff cover. And then just give it another 1/8 of a turn. And spray the rest of the diff cover off with brake clean. Then just monitor it for the next, 10-20 minutes if possible. to check for leaks. Now after monitoring for about, like I said, about 20 minutes or so, check for leaks. If you have no leaks, you are done. The diff is full. This completes how to do a diff service on a 2022 Ram 2500 with the 6.4 liter HEMI and the 4-wheel drive front differential. Thanks for watching this episode here on the Driver Mod. Again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, comment down below how this how-to helped you out. Like the video if you know this could help out another Ram 2500 owner, and we'll see you on the next one here at the Driver Mod.